It's the SKOR North Twins Show. Baseball.
All right, SKOR North Twins Show. Full show. Mackie, Judd, Dex here. Give you a little grab bag of things that are happening with the Minnesota Twins, starting with a potential sale, which is we have some updates from The Athletic and the Star Tribune on that. Sounds like Byron Buxton will be back in the lineup on Friday, which is big. I assume Matt Wallner will likely be joining him, so another big roster move will have to be taking place. I'm curious to see what that is. But hit the like button and the subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. Every time we talk about the ownership stuff, sale, just the poll ads in general, you guys love to hear about it. So we're gonna have a deep dive here today, starting with an update on the sale. So let's start with this one. Both the Strib and the Athletic came out with reports in the same morning, in the same hour. Interesting how that works. So let's start with
what a coincidence. They're both digging for gold at the same time, and there's shovels meet in the middle of the pile.
Interesting. Let's start with the Athletic one. Okay, so Dan Hayes reports, a person briefed on the Twins' pivot since Chicago billionaire Justin Ishbia abandoned his bid to buy the club in late January described the team's headway as, quote, good, and that potential backers as high-quality parties, quote unquote, saying this group's included multiple anchor/lead investors. But with the Twins sticking to their asking price and concerns from invested parties about the team's future revenues, the endgame remains fluid more than 7.5 months after the poll ads announced they would explore selling the team. New York City-based capital market company Allen & Company is handling the sale of the club, which Carl Pohlad bought from Calvin Griffith for $44 million in 1984. In March, the Twins were estimated to be worth between $1.5 and $1.7 billion by Forbes and Sportico, respectively. And the last thing here from The Athletic, quote, there is no deadline, a source said Tuesday. We're dealing with multiple parties, and whoever gets to the finish line first will be the winning party. The poll ads are prepared to wait until the right deal comes along, end quote. That's from The Athletic. That's the first thing we have from this.
Can I say, so a $44 million purchase back in the, I once bought a house for like $160,000 and sold it for like, I don't know, 200 and was like, wow, look at that investment.
Yeah.
Old Macadac is playing the game. That's right. Leveling up financially. This is great. And here come the poll ads, $44 million back in the mid-'80s. And now it's like, should we sell it for $1.5 or $1.8 billion? I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. Nice job, poll ad family.
What's the next report? I want to hear these continue as the spinning goes on.
Yeah. It is
We're valuable.
Because they are different. Like the quotes that the source gave to both these are different. So here's the one from the Star Tribune. This is from Phil Miller.
This is the truth.
Potential buyers of the franchise have visited Minneapolis over the last 2 to 3 weeks to tour Target Field and met with the Pohlad family and the team's executives, a sign that progress is being made towards a sale, according to multiple sources with knowledge of the process. Several parties have shown interest in making an offer, one such source said, and the process is now in, quote, the later stages of due diligence and fact-gathering. The sale is a lot closer to the end than to the beginning, that source said. That's from the Star Tribune.
That is markedly different from the Athletic basically saying they're not going to be forced to sell to we're close to the end. And this, of course, all comes from Charlie Walters,
yes.
a.k.a. the shooter, his lead to his meaty notes on Sunday, which Sports Dad loves to pick up.
I loved those as a kid.
I love notebooks. But what Charlie wrote was that when the Twins originally thought, because they put them up for sale in October, or the exploratory started in October, they figured it'd be complete by March. At least one potential local buyer, after recently going over the club's financials, has lost interest based on the price now believed to be $1.5 billion. The Twins reportedly are more than $400 million in debt, borrowing to pay bills. So that's the hang-up. The hang-up is the key question. How much debt do I have to take on, right? And the other things, too, and why I think that well, God bless the enthusiasm coming in both of these reports. The other thing I think that is just a key hang up would be there's almost certainly going to be a lockout after next season, which is going to stop business entirely. And by the way, I think it could redo the entire thing. Like salary cap, maybe not, but I do think that you're going to come out of it with some type of different financial structure. And then perhaps the most important thing, a good way to get out of debt is cash flow. And as far as we know, your TV cash flow, because you at one time, 2 years ago, were getting $54 million from Diamond Sports Group at the time, has now been cut to, I don't know how much or how little. But I'm more inclined to believe that Charlie talked to a few people that were looked at the books. Because if people are visiting Target Field to say, look at this gorgeous ballpark on this gorgeous day, this is very exciting, can I see your books? And the Twins are like, why would you want to see the books? Let's go out to eat and drink a lot. Let's get you 14 beers deep, and then you can look at the book. So I'm inclined to believe there's truth here in the middle, which is people are interested, but people are also, once they look at the book, say, oh, thanks a lot. See ya.
I have a couple dumb questions about the $400 million in debt. So question number one is this like when Declan just bought a house? Is this like when you haggle over some of all right, so we're going to buy this house, but the kitchen appliances are kind of a disaster and need to be replaced. And then there's closing costs. And at the negotiating table, you can essentially say, all right, here's the buying price for the house. Mm-hmm. But then there's this other chunk of money, we have to replace parts in the kitchen, and then the closing costs are a few $1,000s. You pick those up and it's a done deal. Or I'll pick those up and then you reduce the price of the is that what's happening here? Where a buyer comes in and says, you're asking for 1.7 because you have $400 million in debt. That's your problem. You guys are going to pay that, and then we'll come up with a fair middle ground. How does that work, I guess, is my dumb question.
It sounds like they're trying to, from the people that Charlie talked to here, it sounds like they're trying to pass on the debt. But this would be more like if Declan bought the house and assumed the debt of the person who owned the house. So
they've got $20,000 in credit card bills or something,
or
it's
or
so
they
you're
borrowed,
going to buy the house.
Yeah, let's say that they had, as a lot of people do, borrowed against the house to put on additions and stuff, and then Declan pays them to buy the house, and they're like, okay, and we also have put on these additions, which, by the way, you are going to love, but we are in debt because of that.
That's your problem.
So here's the debt. Right, but
you can ask for more money for the house, but that you can figure out how to pay off your own debts.
I think this is a hat trick of problems. TV, looming lockout, and by the way, you're going to take on our debt, because that's how it sounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And one other factor here, too, is I know they put 30,000 people. It looks like attendance is going in the right direction. There's 30,000 people on a nice day last weekend. But through the first 2 months of the season, the Twins are 25th in attendance among the 30 MLB teams. Now, 2 of those teams are playing in minor league stadiums, but I would also say that the A's and the Rays, even if they were playing in major league stadiums, would still be beneath the Twins in attendance. Yeah. But this is still tracking for potentially the worst attended season in Target Field history. And that affects every game you might be making $1 million less than you did 10 years ago when you were averaging 33,000 people a game.
And I think 6 months ago, we did an episode, and Judd kind of talked about this and hinted at this today, and I believe maybe even on a Statements episode, but David Sampson, the former Marlins president, who has his own podcast now on the Le Batard Network, said similar things of, if they sell for less than what Baltimore sold for, then that shows that MLB franchises are not going up, and that can be also a problem. You need, I believe, the 75% of the vote, similar to the NBA. I think NBA is also 75% of a board of governors. So you need the same type of votes in Major League Baseball from other owners. So that also creates a problem if this sale ends up being 1.4, 1.5 billion.
So what you're saying essentially is baseball owners. Let's say the Twins agree. So what's the Orioles 1.7?
Was I think it was
Yes.
1.7. Yes.
1.7, which is what the Twins started off at.
Right. But let's say the Twins get to a place where it's like, all right, we'll take 1.5. Screw it. It's been a great 40-year run. We turned a $44 million investment into $1.5 billion. We can split it among all the family, whatever. Let's get out of this thing. Let's stop taking the bad PR hit, soiling the name of the Pohlad family. Let's get out of here. They could agree on that. But then Major League Baseball owners a few weeks later could say, this is a bad look for the rest of us. We want the value of these teams to keep going up. So we'd rather you guys just sit and own this team. So they don't even get to dictate necessarily whether they sell the team is sort of what's happening.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, that's. I wouldn't say it's for certain that happens, but I think it's likely. And like, I know David Sampson's got some opinions, and he's definitely out there with certain things. But that's a guy who was the president of a major league organization within the last 15 years. So, it wouldn't be as simple as they sold to Mackey and Judd for $1.5 billion. Actually, people would probably I think they'd be upset about that. Maybe they'd be happy about that.
I think
Declan.
People would love the sports dad running a major league.
Don would be very upset.
Don would be upset.
Stella
well, you're
would
at all the games anyways.
Yeah. I think my wife would be okay with it.
It'd be
okay with it.
It wouldn't be that I'd go to games. She'd be great with that. It would be where would the financing come from?
Yeah, you're right. Financing might be a problem for the $1.7 billion person.
Financing might be but it depends on the payment plan too.
Yeah. Speaking of the equity of this house, I'll be selling the house. Judd will be selling the house. We're all going to move in with Phil. We're just going to have to pile our money together. We're going to figure this
love that.
out.
The wives would love that.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you are a billionaire looking to cobble together finances to buy a baseball team, how about North American Banking Company?
Wow.
They can help you out. It's a Minnesota-based bank. And whether you're looking for just a new checking savings experience or whether you're looking to buy a baseball team or a house, the mortgage process, North American Banking Company is here with 6 metro locations. I've had a great experience just getting to know the crew there the last several months. Friendly, knowledgeable people. They take the time to get to know you and your family and your needs. They definitely emphasize the safety and security of accounts with their cutting-edge online tools. You can find out more at nabankco.com/Mackey. That's nabankco.com/Mackey. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Judd, let's talk about stoked barbecue pellets here before we get
got
to
a brand new
Declan's
grill.
Dex has a new grill, and he's got some takes coming up about the playoff lineup.
And
very nice.
Hot takes.
In fact, that gives me the opportunity, Dex, to sell you on Stoked and Barbecue Pellets, a company based and operated right here in our great state. I'm talking about 50-count fire starter buckets, 4-count fire starter bags. You can find the Stoked products at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Also, check out StokedBBQ.com to find all their locations as well, because they are sold in multiple places. How about this, Declan? Stoked solid oak firewood. Perfect for your tabletop stove. Easy to use, 5-inch pieces. Will burn for 3+ hours. Are you kidding me? Again, Stoked, find them at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores and also StokedBBQ.com for a complete list of where you can get Stoked. To use Stoked.
All right, so I want to do this exercise, and by the way, this ended up being very difficult. Very difficult because I threw in a couple curveballs because I want to see something happen before the playoffs start. So I'm going to give you guys what I would perceive to be the best possible Twins playoff lineup. Now, I'm going to also make assumptions that Buxton, Wallner, and Luke Keeschall are all healthy. And Correa and Royce Lewis. I should put both of them in there too.
It's a good problem.
So this is an idea that if all the guys that are injured right now and guys that are also injury prone or maybe even struggling at the plate, like Royce is right now, over 24, what would a playoff lineup look like in Game 1 tomorrow?
Wow.
So
I love the.
I'm going to give you a lineup.
The
1 through 9. It is. Yes. I mean, we all knew what happened this time. At this time last year, the Twins got out of another skid, then they went on a run, and then they fell on their face. So very presumptuous by me, but a fun exercise nonetheless on this off day for the Twins. So leading off for the Twins, Game 1 of a playoff game, Byron Buxton in center field. We'll put Buck in center.
Okay.
Batting second, Matt Wallner. Matt Wallner bats second and in right field. Wouldn't hate if you flipped these two. I think you can make a case for both. Buck doesn't really get on base necessarily, so I can see a case where maybe you put Buxton in the 2-hole because he can smack a home run. Wallner has better on base skills, so I wouldn't be upset. But there's some speed at the top with both these dudes, so I'll put Buck in the leadoff spot, but Wallner too. But I wouldn't fight anyone to flip him either.
The old school guys would tell you want the speed in front of the pop there.
Oh yeah.
But I would say you want the OBP in front of the both these guys have pop, and so I'd rather have the OBP in front of the pop, which you could flip it and make that happen.
The old school guys would say, "Where's Danny Gladden? Why is he not batting leadoff, Declan? Where's a smaller, speedy guy?"
Oh God! All right, batting third, Carlos Correa. So even though Correa doesn't have much pop, he is starting to hit better.
Yeah.
He's starting to hit a lot better. I mean, he's putting the bat on the ball at least. He's finding spots. He's a professional hitter. Plus, he is also, I think people kind of forget this at times, he's one of the most prolific postseason hitters of all time. And I don't say that with hyperbole. That is a fact. Go look at his postseason numbers. They are some of the best of all time. So Correa bats third at short. All right, batting fourth. This is an interesting one, because his splits are insane this season. I don't know if it's sustainable, but I'm riding it until the wheels come off. Ty France bats cleanup.
Wow.
Have you guys seen the numbers of Ty France with nobody on compared to runners in scoring position this year?
I think you tweeted them a couple days
runners
ago.
In scoring position he's phenomenal.
With nobody on, Ty France is hitting .225 with a 640 OPS. With runners in scoring position, Ty France is hitting .382 with an 843 OPS. 200 points better OPS. He just drives and runs, man. I don't really know how this happens.
That's great.
Almost half of his hits this year have come with runners in scoring position. It's nuts.
He's got a clutch gene, Declan. He's got a clutch gene.
I think he just gets bored when there's nobody on base. He needs to focus as much as he needs to. He needs a challenge.
To Audra Martin on Friday night afterwards, like, what is with your clutchness? Like, I've been doing this for a little while. It's like, Ty France, you got DFA'd last year, but yes, you have been doing this a little while. So he bats cleanup because he's really good at runners in scoring position.
Is this a theme throughout his career? I'm just going to pull up his career stats.
Actually, I don't know that. So
I've been doing this for a while is quite the. He was definitely doing it in Seattle to some extent.
He's got some pushback, man, because he's the guy who basically said, I had a bad year because I listened to all those geeks. I'm going back to hitting the way the Ty France hits.
Okay, it is crazy. In his career, with nobody on base, he has a 707 OPS, which is not that great. It's
maybe
below league average, yeah. When there's runners in scoring position, his OPS jumps 120 points to 825 for his career. Yeah. And when there's anybody on base, if there's just anybody on base, his OPS jumps from nobody on base 75 points. So this is definitely, hey, when he's telling Audra Martin, listen, Audra, old Ty Francie boy has been doing this for a while. He's not kidding. He is 30 years old, and he's been doing this his whole career. Maybe not quite to this extent where it's like 380 and ridiculous, but he's right. He's right.
Batting fifth in this mock playoff lineup is Brooks Lee at second base. Switch hitting Brooks Lee at second base.
Okay. All right. He puts the ball in play.
Yep.
He's a contact guy.
Better bat the bat to ball skills, which is something he excelled at in the minor leagues and really struggled with last year, and also including not hitting fastballs well last year. It's improved. I don't know if Brooks Lee might not be like a 300 hitter, but you're seeing a reason why here, even though he hasn't been world beating, but you've seen some signs of life at the plate this season compared to the last year version of Brooks Lee. So he bats fifth. Eddie's been, they have put, I know injuries dictated this, they've been batting this guy in the middle of the lineup for the better part of the last month. So
he's matured a lot at the plate.
The walk-off he had a few games ago was a great example of if you just have dudes that can put the bat on the ball when there's a runner on third base or a runner on second base instead of striking out. And
now you're old school.
All outs are the same. This is an analytics guy here. All
No, I
outs.
know.
What's the difference
Now
between a
you're an old
strikeout and a flyout
Yeah.
or a ground out? Well,
just
when you
saw it.
it's process. When you hit a 16 hopping ground ball up the middle, it has a chance to go through for a hit and win a game for you. Before you get to 6, 7, 8, 9 here, back at the Ty France clutch update desk, I'm digging deeper into his baseball reference. His career. When there's runners on first and third, he has a 919 career OPS.
I'm writing this down to ask Rocco when they're back.
It's
this is-
wild.
Ask Ty France about it too. Just like say, why are you so good with guys in scoring position? Yet Ty, when guys aren't on, it seems that you
kinda
are checked
suck
out.
now.
Yeah, what's wrong?
But here's an interesting quirk. In his career with the bases loaded, he's terrible. So he's
Too much pressure.
below average when nobody's on base. Yeah, when there's too much
He
pressure and the
drowns
bases
in that
are loaded.
pressure.
So when the bases are loaded, he has a 543 OPS and no grand slams. He's never hit a grand slam.
So pinch hit for him if the bases are loaded. But if there's a guy on first and third,
I think the Twins are still without a grand slam. I don't think
That
they've hit a
sounds
grand
right.
slam yet this year.
I think you're right.
Wow. Okay, so 4 more spots here in this mock playoff lineup. Batting 6th at catcher, Ryan Jeffers,
Okay.
who's having a great year. Really fun hitter to watch. He bats 6. Against a lefty in a playoff lineup, I'm probably having him batting first or second because he destroys
OBP.
left-handed pitching. Yep, and OBP. Batting 7th, Royce Lewis at third base. And I'm factoring in the skid here. I'm factoring in the skid. Not even the skid. I'm factoring in 70 at-bats of the 2025 season. I assume he gets hotter. And yesterday, I'll be the defender here. I know fans don't want to hear it. Some insanely hard batted balls, some atom balls, some situations where he's stinging it. I think his quote yesterday was, "There's no hope left." Like, I think that was his direct quote.
It was a weird quote, yeah.
It was
what
a
did
weird
he mean
quote.
by that?
I would love to hear the question because
I think the question involved hope.
must have been involved hope because he said there's no hope left and
Yeah.
then went on a run about how I feel like I'm hitting the ball
But
really
it
well
wasn't-
and eventually I'm going to find grass. But
But it wasn't like it sounds. Like I think the question, I think the ball in question was to the warning track, right, Dex?
Yeah.
And I think the question must have been, were you hoping it was out? And
Yeah.
he said, "There's no hope left because I'm struggling." But then his quotes after that, like at first I'm like, "Oh my God, he's broken. He's been broken by the game."
That's what I thought.
But when you read the rest of the quotes, he was basically saying, "I think that I don't have hope left that a ball is going to get out for me right now."
yeah,
Was this interview just with writers, with recorders, or was
Yes.
this captured on camera somewhere?
just with writers.
Yeah, and Hayes.
So we don't get the context of.
Hayes put out the 3 questions though that started with that one, or the 3 responses, and they gradually grew like more increasingly Royce, like more upbeat.
When I read the initial quote, I had the same reaction Judd did, which is like, is he okay?
Yeah.
Like, does he need? It reminded
check on
me. It was like 14 years ago. What was the Nishioka year? It was 11, and then it was the next year at spring training in 2012. And he was injured in 2011. He was terrible, and it just looked really bleak. But there was some new hope coming into spring training in 2012, and he had a translator. So you would ask a question, and then the translator would translate the question. Then he would answer in Japanese. It's a game of telephone. And somebody asked a question to the translator, like, "Hey, what are his expectations for this year? He struggled last year. Does he feel a renewed sense going into spring training?" And the translator does his thing, and then Nishioka gives an answer. And the translator's answer back was, "If I don't perform well, I'm going to have to just throw it all away." And we are all like, okay. We all actually went back to the press box, and somebody stood up and was like, "I got to ask, do we need some clarification on that quote from the translator? I'm going to throw it all away." What does he mean by that? Is that
And he probably meant his big league chance.
right? But it was like,
But it sounds very
there's no
dark.
hope left. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa, dude,
yeah.
whoa.
So Dex, if Royce does pick it up, where would you probably slot him instead of 7th?
Like probably 4th or 5th.
Fourth.
But there's
Yeah.
a problem that I'm building up here too. That-
Sorry.
That 2 more spots left in the lineup, and then probably a can of worms. And maybe I buried a lead with what I'm doing with this playoff lineup. But
Sounds like you're creating suspense is what it sounds like you're doing.
That's exactly what I'm doing. 2 spots left. Luke Keyshaw batting 8th at DH.
Yes.
So I would love to have him at the top. I wouldn't hate if he was near the top. Also, the speed factor is huge here for a team that doesn't really steal a lot of bases, and having him next to Buxton would be really exciting. And Wallner moves pretty well. He's not a threat on the bases, but he moves well. But I have Luke Keyshaw at DH batting 8th, and then rounding out the order is Harrison Bader in left field. I know I pontificated to put this damn dude up in the top of the lineup, even though he's hitting just like crazy right now. But outfield defense, he's having a career year at the plate, which is great, but might cool off. Regardless, his glove is still the main reason I need him playing 9 innings. So he bats 9. So here's your playoff order, and then here's the question I'm going to throw at you guys. So Byron Buxton leading off at center, Matt Wallner in right field batting 2nd, Carlos Correa batting 3rd at short, Ty France at first base batting cleanup, Brooks Lee at 2nd batting 5th, Ryan Jeffers batting 6th, Royce Lewis batting 7th at 3rd base, Luke Keyshaw at DH, Harrison Bader in left field. This means
Jonah Bride is not in the lineup.
Jonah Bride's not in the lineup. He's not on the bench. Because I have traded Willie Castro and I have traded Trevor Larnach in this situation.
Oh, so you've traded them like in the next 6 weeks or whatever.
Yep.
Or next 2 months.
Whoa.
Yep.
Huh?
I've traded them.
Okay.
Let's actually start with Trevor Larnach because I really like Larnach as a hitter. He's solid, but what does Trevor Larnach do that he is like exceptional at? What is he great at? Maybe that's the better question because he's exceptional at a few things. What is Trevor Larnach great at? And I don't know if there's a definitive answer. He's got some nice bat-to-ball skills. He's kind of a lug defensively. I don't think there's like a 40 home run hitter underneath there. I think there's a guy that's probably hitting 15 to 20 bombs, which is fine. I would rather, and this is going back to me and Kyle's favorite analogy, the boat versus the mystery box. I would love to open the mystery box that is Emmanuel Rodriguez, who's your second best prospect in the organization, also bats left, also is a center fielder, who's probably going to be more of a corner guy, has ridiculous skills at the plate where his OBP, I think, in the last like 10 games is almost 500. He has a career minor league OBP of over 400. He draws a ton of walks. He hits the ball hard. He does strike out kind of at a high rate, but he offsets it with his walk and his power and his defensive prowess. I would much rather figure out a way to give Emmanuel Rodriguez more at-bats, and I think that comes with an easy swap of trading one left-handed hitter and inserting another left-handed hitter in Emmanuel Rodriguez. So that's the first step in this. And I think you're not going to get like a earth-shattering deal for Trevor Larnach, but I think you could get back something because he's a quality above average major league hitter.
Yeah, like the thing is he doesn't really have a place, Larnach, defensively. He's not like a plus defender in a corner outfield spot. They've I guess come to the conclusion that he's not in the pool of first baseman candidates. So. As a hitter, I think his best quality is the ability to work some counts and get on base, and he can hit the ball the other way, but he's not a plus power hitter. In the minor leagues, he was a plus OBP guy, but through almost 1,500 career plate appearances in the major leagues, he has not been an on-base machine. He's been like a league average on-base guy. So he's kind of the definition of an average major league hitter, but he doesn't, at age 28, have a ton of peak upside left unless there's a late blooming season coming down the pipeline. Usually once you get to like 28 and 1,300 career plate appearances in the major leagues, there's a little room for refinement, but you kind of are who you are.
Yeah. I
would say with the way his offense profiles, if he was an elite defensive corner outfielder or something, like a Jason Hayward, for instance, kind of reminds me of like a Jason Hayward, where he's gonna work some counts, he can get hot with the bat, but he's gonna be the best defensive corner outfielder in terms of defensive runs saved. And Larnach isn't really that.
No.
So yeah, I don't know what you're gonna get for him in this hypothetical trade, but I'm good with this.
Talk about the Castro trade.
I mean, the only thing, in my opinion, that's keeping Willie Castro in the big leagues is the versatility. I mean, that's honestly what's kept him in the big leagues. He's a switch hitter, and he can play 5 positions, which is valuable. Like there's a value there. But dudes, if you go back the last, let's see here, pulled this up, the last 67 games for, by the way, the Twins MVP last season.
Yeah.
The last 67 games in 2024. Hit 213 as a 611 OPS. This season, 35 games, hitting 220, 650 OPS. This guy is not good at the plate. The versatility is okay, it's important, but he doesn't play any position exceptional. I can give him a little bit of pass for Tampa Bay because it sounds like that stadium and that environment and the wind and the entire thing makes left field impossible to read. But regardless, he's entering a contract year. I don't know, man. Is Willie Castro, if you're going to a playoff game, and are you really saying, of the 9 guys I listed, well, I got to get Willie Castro in there? I answered no. I don't think you do.
I agree with that. My question is this then: who is your utility guy that Baldelli loves and can say, because you inevitably are going to get
Lee.
one of these 9 guys hurt. So yeah, that's my only question. I
is
have no
one.
problem. I do not think Castro's great.
Your utility guy could start too. Like Brooks Lee can start, and then if you needed to shuffle, like, okay, we're going to do this, that, the other, and move him to a different spot in the infield, you could do that.
My bench right now in this hypothetical is Deshaun Kersey Jr., Emmanuel Rodriguez, Christian Vasquez, and Cody Clemens. Because I'm not stopping Cody Clemens.
Well, but here's the thing: if Cody Clemens, I think he's going to cool off.
Yeah.
But if Cody Clemens doesn't, if he cools off a little, but he's like just clearly one of your best hitters in 2 or 3 months from now,
he's in the line.
That's another fun exercise because then you'd have to go through and, you find space for him. He's probably becomes your DH, and sorry, Luke Keyshaw, you're gonna have to fire this thing back up next year.
Odds are he's probably going to hit the Castro wall though, and so you're going to be like that. That to me feels like a great summer fling.
Yeah.
He's a fun summer fling.
So yeah, there's a mock playoff lineup for you.
That's good.
There's an ownership update. All fun things. I love making these. I'm sure I'm gonna get torched for. I can't believe this guy traded Trevor Larnach. It's like, okay, all right, well, that's
I
fine too.
don't think there's a cavalry of Trevor Larnach defenders out there. Actually, I don't think you have to worry about that.
I don't think
but
so.
Ty
but
France
you
fourth.
never
Come
know.
on, clean up. What are you doing?
Hey, a random twin coming up here on the SKOR North Twins Show. But a shout out to Dennis Kirk for all those Ragnars and motorcycle part accessory mavens out there.
Yep. And if you are one of those, maybe you want to mark your calendars for the 2nd annual Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show powered by Dennis Kirk. It's going to be at Running Aces Casino Saturday, June 7th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's free to register your bike and to attend. Kids and families are welcome. So if you've been building or renovating a bike in your garage and you want to show it off, this is the place to do so. The 2nd annual Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show powered by Dennis Kirk. You can find out more at denniskirk.com. And also, as we've been talking about all month long here on the SKOR North Twins Show, we are looking to raise some awareness for an important cause, suicide, and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So the construction industry is disproportionately affected by suicide, and there's a walk coming up to support those who build our communities, the construction workers. It's this Saturday at Legends Crossings at Vikings Lakes, Eagan, the Construction Hike for Hope. You can find out more information at afsp.org/MN Construction. That's afsp.org/MN Construction. Baseball. All right, a little random twin action here.
Yes. Okay, so taking a look at the random twin. Last week, Judd won with Jim Thome. So Judd picked up the victory. I was very upset about that one. That's got to be something I get. But before that, Renee Tassoni, Brian Harper, Harmon Killebrew, Danny Coulomb are some of the recent random twins we've done here. Judd picked up his 27th. I haven't highlighted this yet. So 27th victory in random twin.
All right, nice job, Judd. You're going down today.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
You're going down.
You're going down.
We'll see. We'll see.
The blood bank. All right, this random twin played 519 games in the major leagues.
Didn't get his pension. Okay.
What's the pension?
10
Like,
years.
what's the?
Is it 10?
Oh, he may have
10
gotten
years.
10 years.
Might have.
I'll give you that clue. Let's see here. Well, service time, they're kind of... I don't know.
9.7 years.
Service time on Baseball Reference for this random twin.
Wow.
So that might be a clue for you.
Yeah, that's okay.
This random twin played in 9 playoff games in his big league career. 5 of them came with the Twins. By the way, in those 9 games, Went 6 for 20, 300 average.
In those 9?
Yep, in those 9 career playoff games, had 6 hits.
I'm just going to pull up the list of random Twins that we've already done here. Just so you know. That's what I'm doing with my hands right now. Okay.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
All right.
All right, this random Twins best season was a 4.5 WAR. In fact, according to Baseball Reference, he never had a negative WAR season.
Okay. So he's contributing member of Baseball Society.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
4.5 WAR. 5.5 WAR.
I better look at the list myself. All right.
Boy, that second clue was an interesting one.
The playoff game one?
No, the service time thing.
Yeah,
Service time.
Yeah, that didn't help at all. That created more controversy, more intrigue. All right.
This random Twin spent exclusive time in the outfield. Played left field, right field, and center field. DH'd a bit. Of those 400, what did I say for the career games? There was
519.
519. Thank you. Gotta scroll up and down sometimes here. 90 of them came at DH. So he DH'd a little bit too.
Wow.
Outfield and DH. The era is hard to pin here. I think I know the era, but
Yeah.
In 2 different seasons, both with the Twins, he finished top 10 in hit by pitches. This is not Ty France, who loves to get hit by a pitch, just FYI. Spoiler alert.
I'm sorry. 2 different seasons.
2 different seasons, was top 10 in hit by pitches.
And did you say that was with the Twins or just
Both
two
with the
different
Twins.
Okay.
wow. So this dude, like,
This guy hung over the plate. Hung over the plate.
Yeah, 13 and 16 respectively in those hit by pitches seasons.
just getting absolutely plunked.
I mentioned the outfield. He did commit to the 5th most errors in the outfield in 2005.
Fifth most.
Control F searching for someone. Oh no, it wouldn't be him because he would have been 90s.
5th most errors. So hold on. So this is. I got a feeling we've used this guy, but I don't know. Well, hold on.
Is it? Is this Michael Restovich?
Michael Restovich is incorrect. 1 strike for Phil.
5 playoff games as a Twin.
I got 2 left.
5 playoff games as a Twin. Top 10 in HPV. 6 for 20 and 9.
Oh. Control Effing.
Yeah, I'm gonna control F as well.
Who's going to yell
Okay.
out first? Who's going to
Okay.
yell out first?
I think
Would he?
Going to do it.
is this
Bobby Kielty.
Bobby Guilty is incorrect, but that would have been an epic moment in Random Twin because I don't know who said it first. Oh,
I
we
think
had
the
to
tape
rewound
would
the
show
tape.
that it's me, and I will take
Oh,
that.
wow, that
I'll
would have
take
been
that L.
awesome.
So I have one guess left. Judd has 3 guesses.
But it's
left.
just the era. I'm just trying to put it in the context of the era. Oh, 2005. I feel like 2005 is prime Declan territory. Like
You're in the right era.
I was on the Vikings beat, so I was watching the Twins, but not as much as I had when I was. I feel like this is prime Declan years.
Here's something actually I didn't know about this Random Twin. Kind of similar to Zebby Matthews. His first name, his legal first name, is not the first name that we call him. So, like for example, Zebby Matthews' real first name is Daniel. It's Daniel Zebulon Matthews. This guy is real first name, which I had no idea until today, is actually John.
Lou Ford.
Lou Ford. That's it. Did you know that his real first name was John?
Yes. Once you said that.
That's
you did?
incredible. I mean, I didn't think that'd be a giveaway.
Wow.
Also, thinking through the outfielders of that era and guys who would have been, because it's crazy, 519 games is not that many, but he was a good playoff performer, had a huge year, and was a guy that got hit by a bunch of pitches for at least a couple years. So I'm thinking, like, who was like a prominent player for maybe 3 or 4 years? And then I remember, too, that we love to bring up names that have been brought up on the show throughout the week. And so, yeah, Lou Ford, Jonathan Lewis.
Wow, I had no
Ford.
I had no idea his name was John.
There was some clues I didn't want to give away. Like, he actually he was playing baseball up until last year. He finally retired from the Indy Lynx.
Yeah, he just
for
crushed the Indies for years.
He had MVP votes in
the
2004.
Iron thing is the only thing.
The Iron thing was a thing I was trying to avoid. And the first 188 games of his career hit 302, 330, 383, 461. Got off to a blistering start. His first almost 200 games in the big leagues, and then kind of became just a jag.
Yeah, so his first partial season he was really good, and then the 04 season was the 4.5 WAR, and he was like fairly decent the next year too in 2005, but he literally had MVP votes in 2004. 24th in the voting, but like someone gave him a vote of some kind in the MVP.
Cody Clemens type rise, one might say.
He did come back to the Birds in 2012 after being out of big leagues for 5 years and actually made their playoff roster and went 3 for 8 as a 35-year-old.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Love me some Lou Ford.
Who doesn't?
All right, there it is. Yeah. John Lewis Ford.
John Lewis.
Your answer on today's random.
Very nice.
That's incredible. Hit the like button and subscribe button here. Any extra content on extra innings coming at you momentarily. We'll have any roster updates. Byron Buxton likely back in the lap tomorrow. Matt Wallner hopefully too, and then we'll decide on what that next roster move is. So appreciate you guys. We'll be talking at you soon.